I don't.
What do you mean
I
by
can't think.
that?
I can only experience.
Well, experience Grimm, and then just imagine the opposite. You got an imagination. Use it.
Hmm.
I guess you gotta have faith that I'm gonna be speaking in the English language.
Slick, are you triggered? Are you triggered a little bit, bro?
I would imagine.
Excuse me.
Oh no,
Triggered
I guess he
about
just
what?
emulates me. He wants to be
what
like
could I
me. So
possibly be triggered about?
Anyway, Pyro, what were you asking, man? Back to some real conversation. What were you asking,
Yeah,
dude?
y'all have some
What
real
is
conversation.
intelligence?
Listen to y'all talk for a change.
Well, they normally measure it by like patterns and shit, right? Like I think that's what like IQ test measure is, like pattern recognition or something. I don't know if that's right.
It sounds right.
Look at this guy. He's like fat and disabled and balding. Do you really want to trust a fat, disabled, middle-aged, balding man when he says that the Earth is a sphere? Can you believe that? Or would you trust a young, beautiful, handsome, heads full of hair, gets all the ladies, thinks the Earth is flat? Would you trust someone like that? Wait, why is my picture not working? Why am my picture not working? What the fuck? Yo, what up, Rig and Shroomy? Why the fuck my picture not? Here we go. Yeah. So you want to trust this fat, balding, disabled man? Or look at this fucking guy. He says the Earth is flat, and he's beautiful. Who are you gonna trust? Fat, disabled, balding person, or young, handsome, beautiful man? This guy says it's flat. This guy says it's sphere. I trust this guy. Personally.
Work with steel all their life, and they know like all the ins and outs of it, but they don't know like the fucking quantum physics equations, right? Like there's different
None
kinds
of the
smart,
above.
I guess.
That is true.
I'm flat Earth smart.
I heard you read books, P.
I know you can't prove it's a globe.
Wah!
This is my friend Shroomy.
Oh, that was Steve. That wasn't Sherman.
How do we measure intelligence?
With a ruler.
You stack, yeah, a ruler and bananas. You stack bananas on end, and then you use a ruler.
Apparently, have anybody ever watched Mr. Intelligence Design?
Nope.
Apparently, to be intelligent, you had to read a book about something to be intelligent.
Depends on what books you read, right?
yeah,
you had to read. You had to read a book.
Always remember, books are written by men.
Some of them, some are written by God.
Yeah, the Bible is written by God.
you've heard of frames of mind, the theory of multiple intelligences.
All books are written by men.
Yeah. I think
You've
so.
heard of frames of mind,
Sure.
right? The theory
Yeah.
of multiple intelligences by Howard Gardner.
Right?
That's what
Yeah,
that
yeah.
photo is I dropped there, where they talk about
Is
you
that
know,
a man?
spatial visualization,
Is that a
intrapersonal
man?
understanding.
Is that a man that wrote that
Would you
book?
shut the fuck up? It
Grim.
doesn't matter. Of
This
course
is-
it's a
no,
man.
this is a-
Howard
this is a-
Gardner.
this is
Man.
Discord, what we have discussed.
Yeah, but
Grim,
you're
drop
interrupting.
I
Man.
know,
Yeah,
but
we're-
that's Discord. That's
Yeah,
I'm
but you're
talking to
literally
Grim.
doing it wrong.
You're just gonna
Holy
have
shit.
to get used to it. That's
Slick,
Discord.
shut
What,
the
Grim,
fuck up.
what?
I'm talking to
That's
Grim.
Discord.
Tell me about the
Christ.
basic premise of that. I think I've heard of it before, but give me like the breakdown. Give me like the 5-second breakdown.
The breakdown of what?
Well,
Not you, Slick. Shut up.
I'm on
It's-
Slick's
this is
side.
Discord. This is where people come.
Jesus
to talk.
Christ,
This
I
is-
know,
this
but
is
it's
where we
an-
have
conversations have to be back and
I know,
forth,
but
not
this
just
is-
interrupting.
well,
Grim, give me the
Right.
5-second breakdown on what you were saying about that book.
It breaks down intelligence in like spatial, interpersonal, linguistic, body kinesthetics and shit like that, like existential, logical,
So-
and mathematical, and musical, naturalist type. A bunch of different
Can
categories.
you answer without all the words? Sal?
Okay, so it would be like
No,
different
those are
ways-
all very important words. And he understands them because he's not an
It sounds
idiot.
Yeah.
Like word. It just sounds like
No,
words.
Dude, trust me, I know he understands them.
I
Have
understand
you
it.
ever heard a long? You ever heard a long story short?
It is word
Jesus
salad.
Christ, that took 15 seconds to do.
It was
Crybaby
too long.
bitch.
Make five.
Shut your
Do
fucking
5
fucking
seconds.
Graham,
pudding eating
Graham.
mouth.
Try 5 seconds.
You
Next
got
time.
pantyhose on your head, by the way. Somebody needs to tell you that.
Okay, go ahead.
Fuck
Next,
wrong
go
with
ahead,
you,
next.
dog?
Go ahead. Finish what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So
Fix your
Grim, basically, you're saying like there's different kinds of intelligences, and these are the breakdowns of what they could be, right?
Right.
All right, I got you. Like,
Yeah.
I could see that.
In other
and
words, it's a book written by men.
Yeah, no shit. So is all books.
it's looking at the
women.
way it's looking at the way people act and trying to figure out who we are and what we do, what we know. That's all it
Is
is. It doesn't have to be
Yeah.
right, Slick. It doesn't have to be
So do
right.
you have to.
It's
I'm
just
asking you a
interesting to
question.
look at. Okay.
Do you have
Just-
to read a book to figure out who you are?
Do you?
No.
Maybe you do. Maybe you need to go
Maybe
read
you
some
should
books.
try
Slick.
reading a book.
I just said no.
Maybe you
I
should
don't.
try reading a book.
No, I don't.
Anyway,
Read.
anyway, Grim, I think that's interesting to break
I
down
didn't mean to
intelligence like that
interrupt
because
you,
there's
my
different
fault.
kinds.
Well,
There's
yeah, so do
different
I. Because to go on back of what you were saying earlier, there are a lot of different types of. You see people being intelligent in other types of ways. Like some
Yeah,
people
you
can
see
be
a
completely
mechanic-
physics retarded, but they can manipulate people socially, no problem.
Yeah, or you see a mechanic who can tear down an engine and like build back every little part and remember it, but like they don't have that math thing or whatever it is, right? Like,
Oh, exactly. Right.
So
Exactly.
what is the point? So what is the point of this?
Like, for an example, who was it? Faraday? I think it was Faraday.
one of the people you look up to?
Yeah, he couldn't. What was it? Maxwell had to do the field equations for him because he understood the magnetism, but Maxwell could apply the math to which he couldn't.
yeah,
No.
sure.
Where did you
So-
where did you get that from?
Slick,
Faraday's
why do you need so much,
diaries.
why do you need so much
From
information?
Michael Faraday's diaries.
And why do you need so much attention, dude? Slick, calm down. You're not the
No.
only one in this chat. Jesus
I
Christ.
know, but I'm in this chat and I can talk.
You're
That's
just
what
trying to
this chat
derail
is
our
for.
conversation. You're about to get muted.
But that's what
We're not
this
gonna
is
play with
for.
you
This
anymore,
is a
dude.
room- This is a room with people in it for a chat. We're all
Yeah,
here
but
to
you're-
chat together.
You're interrupting, though.
That's
You're
not
interrupting.
stupid.
Yeah, you're
and
being
this guy wonder
rude.
why I
Well,
get
this is Discord. This is Discord. This
Slick
happens.
No,
Saturday.
it's not. You can argue, but you don't interrupt to do it.
He's
Sometimes
adding
people
to the
talk over
conversation.
Each other. That's Discord.
No, he's not, P. You know he's
Hey,
not.
Slick, and you wonder why I get muted. That's exactly why.
Mute. Listen, I don't. You think
Anyway.
I tell you what. I'm gonna do this. I gotta
Again,
go do
for like
something.
the 18th
You
time.
guys
Slick-
take it easy.
Slick,
It
do
was
you
nice
think
talking
you're
to you.
disrupting the conversation right now
I'll
that
see you
those
around
two
the
were
chat.
having? Do you think you're
Okay, my
disrupting
fault.
the conversation that those
No,
two are having, Slick?
I apologize, and I'm gonna
Do you
take off.
think?
guys.
Answer
Take
the
it.
question. Do you
I
think
said
you were
I
interrupting the conversation?
Yes, I was
wasn't.
interrupting the conversation, and I
You do it
apologize.
deliberately. You
He
know you
wasn't.
do. So you better stop the shit.
apologize. I apologize.
He's just trying to
Take it easy.
participate. I don't understand why you guys.
Shut up,
Quit
Pete.
guys
sucking
being
his
so
balls,
mean to him.
faggot. P. Mars, we love you, dude, so much.
Slick just wants to experience the discussion, man.
Is that all it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, again, for like the 18th time, Grim, like, I think that's super cool to like look at the different kind of ways that people can learn shit. Because I know that I
It's
look at
fucking
myself
flat.
and I have like certain types of things that I'm good at, but others that I'm real bad at. And it's just like cool to see like how people's minds work. I don't know.
It is. It is. It's like the savant nature of somebody who can barely even communicate with you, but they can also, discern sounds and pitch and tone and rhythm and timbre and all that. Like,
Yeah,
like there's, like, you know what I'm saying? Like to a level that could be reached by the average person.
You're boring, Grim.
It's part of the show.
Fucking boring.
Welcome to the show. If you don't know.
Oh, fuck.
Didn't they teach you to reach for the stars while opening up the bars and keeping you chained down with mortgage bills and cars? Vaccines for your arms, kids sounding like supercharged, caffeinated hate-filled scars and rage-quit repertoires. No answers for yards, caught up in emotion that's not even yours. Imposter truths like impeccable retards, lined up for your serving of Gish Galloping wars. No remedy can save the lost, in love with the yarn. I'm tired of walking into refracted shards, poor science displayed by disgusting bards. Soaked in sin with your dupe is delight and a new hand of cards. Been so long, seems like for love I'm just too hard, I'm just too hard. I said, welcome to the show, where you don't know if it's part of the show. Welcome to the show. If you don't know, you don't know. Intoxicated eight makes you believe you're spinning in space while you have no shame or grace. It's a disdainful state
you ready
I
to
used to contemplate how to save myself from my own self-hate. Wonder why I was even made with a dreadful fate, forced to try and awake with a full plate. No one to help me stay awake or educate. I've had to liberate and fight through hidden gates. But my brother, heaven could never be late, and rockets don't work in space. It's all fake, the show is on Mars. It's a joke, but you're too far gone, it won't be long. Fepe's beak is strong. We have our song and we march along like streams of knowledge leading to God's holy pond, and lives of truth that hits the bong and sings the song, turns mankind from the wrong. We come in peace with a holy gown and all of us wearing our holy crowns. So the earth is flat and we probably just won't get along, just to go along. I said, welcome to the show, where you don't know if it's part of the show. Welcome to the show. If you don't know, you don't
know. Big up to my flat earth brother, Nisa, man. Big up, big up. We're gonna bring you this flat earth truth this year. This is the year of the flat earth, 2019. We're gonna prove that they can't prove it's a sphere. Once we do that, we'll prove it's flat. What the fuck? Is that how it ends? It ends like that? That seems like a weird ass ending.
Spanish down there at all in Australia? You have some people like Latin?
I haven't experienced anyone speaking Spanish.
Sorry.
With an Australian accent, that would be interesting.
Can you say flat earth in Australian?
Flat earth.
Oh, interesting.
That's not a flat earth.
That's not a flat earth. That's a flat earth.
Oi, get fuck on.
Give us your lighter, cunt.
None of us can do Australian at all.
Fucking me lighter.
All right, Terry. On the, it's fair enough to give and receive. So give us your U.S. accent.
U.S. accent. Okay. I'm trying to think of a phrase.
Hey Jody, give us your lighter.
Hold on, it's Miller time. It's Miller time, Terry.
You got me on the spur of the moment now.
It's Miller time.
I can do it, Arnie Schwarzenegger, maybe.
Oh, hit it.
Yankee accent.
That's not
Yeah,
American.
that's about as American as it gets.
Well,
Hit that Arnie.
He's a Nazi.
Oh, gee. I'm not good at speaking American.
Hey, since there's so much intelligence floating around here, can we talk about time?
We
Oh,
had
was
time.
it?
Not the time and
Yeah,
space.
let's talk about time.
show you later.
It's fourth dimension.
If you don't want to, it's okay.
Time is
We haven't
another
got the
thing.
time.
It's fourth dimension.
Time is another part of the heliocentric model that doesn't
Oh, we got
work.
time. I just don't know if anyone else has time.
What my question is
There's no such thing
Einstein-
as a second ago or a second from now.
Einstein's space-time, is that based on
Einstein faced.
is that based on man time or universal?
Not
Space-time.
means any-
Right, but is
I
it
feel
man?
like he doesn't know that we already had this conversation yesterday.
I know.
Do you
I wanted to
believe
have it
that we don't know that
somebody.
we already had this conversation
I
yesterday?
know, but I was
I
hoping to have it
experienced
with
this-
somebody else.
I experienced this conversation, didn't get anywhere.
I
I was
showed
hoping
it.
to have it with somebody else.
Right. Did you believe somebody else was in here?
Is somebody else in here that's got
Is
intelligence?
this the exact same
Please
20
don't start
that
with
were
this
here the
belief
other
system.
day?
No, not everyone. I don't think everyone here at the moment's got
Wolfgang,
intelligence.
we did that
Okay,
like
so is
15
there
minutes
anyone
ago.
who hasn't heard that question that would like to answer? I mean, unless you want to just go back to what you're talking about, I don't disturb.
I mean, it seems like time is
You-
a human construct, right? So, what that
It's
would,
like you
so
say
that
you
would-
don't want to disturb us, but you
What
intentionally
is
jump
the
in.
past? What is history?
that would
D-Mars,
debunk
you just
Einstein.
answered a good question there, because if space-time is bent in man-constructed time, then what's actually bending up there?
That's a good point. That's kind of debunks Einstein right there.
Totally debunked.
Debunk science. What is time?
Hey,
A
Slick,
solid
we
forecast.
weren't talking about
Four
anything
time.
before you inserted yourself. It's
Dinner.
alright.
As
I know, that's
5
why I
time.
asked. If it's a problem, I can go right back on.
Yeah. You should ask if it's a problem when you just jump
Okay.
in and change the
Let me go
topic.
back.
Yeah.
My fault. I'll go back.
See you
on.
later, Slick.
Sorry about that.
They're mad at Slick.
and party boy music outro by
I thought that's an interesting topic that Slick brought up.
I did too, actually. So
Oh, go ahead. My bad.
party boy intro slick.
Welcome to the main stage. It's Slick James. Come back.
Remembers, tip the ladies for doing the business. Tip the ladies and your waitresses on your way out.
On your way out.
We have Slick James on the stage.
It's just that's an interesting question. That if space-time, the bending of space-time is bending a man-made construct, I'm just wondering how that's possible.
Basically, time itself is not man-made construct. The hours and seconds, and those are kind of man-made.
So what time is being bent?
I don't know.
Right. No further questions.
I thought it was photons that got bent.
I just think you all should just get bent.
Yeah, we should all just get bent, and then we can talk about
You
being
know,
bent,
Grims, you're
bending
kind of
photons.
intelligent. Maybe you can answer that one because you are, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of intelligent. Thank you for noticing.
So what
That's
is
why
it?
I intuitively know that you're just trolling me right now. So
What time is being bent?
no time. Time has no physical attributes.
So there's no such thing as the bending of space-time.
Not in my opinion.
You added a word there, Slick.
Okay, forgive me.
I know, but I still agree with it.
Well, he said time.
I
at the
granted it.
beginning.
Yeah,
Then he said
space.
Hmm.
Yeah. Space has no physical attributes either.
Do you think time
These are
is
two concepts that only applied when put together somehow become some sort of a field, an unexplainable you're just using the words space and time, which are already have definitions and mean something completely different, and you're trying to make it say field. A field of what is what's necessary, and that they don't have an answer.
Do you think,
So I don't agree. Space-time fabrics don't exist in my.
do you think
They don't have physical attributes.
Do you think time is electricity?
Am I still stupid now, Slick?
No. I like your answer. I want to hear what somebody has to say about that.
What
Well,
do
of
you
course,
mean,
there's an
bending
argument
or
that
stretch?
everybody.
Just
I want to hear what
stretch.
Slick James has to say about that.
Well, no, I thought what he said was very interesting. I
I
got
do
to
too.
give it to Grimm
Yeah,
on
same
that
thing.
one.
I agree.
That was very, very comprehensible and made a whole lot of sense.
I could
So what
Google
was- what
something
was
and then
wrong
read
with
it
it?
out.
So
and
now
make it-
so now can anybody combat that what he said?
Can you? What was wrong with that, Slick? Are you buying into it?
Nothing. No, nothing was wrong
Oh.
with it. I'm wondering does anybody else disagree?
Nah, I don't know enough to disagree.
So this space-time thing is just something that's really, I mean, this
That
is
guy's
a
the
going
best.
story.
Yeah, it
So,
could be.
James, what
It
do you
could be.
think time
You
is?
guys say that
Slick.
you
What's
rely
time in your
you
world?
guys say that you rely on science and you accept
Or
and you
your
believe what the
experience?
scientists say. But here's a scientist say that there's a bending of space-time, and Grimm's just explained that there's no such concept of
Yeah.
taking two separate entities
Grimm's
and
own
combining
Well, there's a
them together
concept,
and make-
but I
No,
don't
no, no.
agree with. Yeah,
Yeah,
No, what I'm
the
saying-
cause. He
concept-
has a different idea of it. It's fine.
but I don't
So what-
agree with.
What do you think about that, Slick? Like what?
That's what I'm
you're-
asking. I'm asking the questions. I don't think anything. I'm trying to find out.
Oh, you don't. Yes, I am too. Same. But I
Okay.
want to ask
you-
other people. I want to ask other people. So, Slick, what do you think?
I don't know. I'm trying to find out. I don't. That's why I'm
Oh,
talking
me
about
too.
it.
Shit.
Oh, what if we
I
all
guess-
said that to you
Damn.
every time you said something?
But
Listen, my
James, James,
okay. Let me
Okay,
let me-
I
how
don't
do
know.
you
I'm trying to
experience-
find out.
Let me get you out of the circle, jerk. The
All right.
reason that I'm asking the question is because for the same thing that Grimm's explained, it doesn't make any sense about this space time because man invented time. So how can before man invented time, this space time, if it's a real thing, would have had to existed before that. And I'm wondering what time was it using before man invented time?
I don't
Which
think
is
Grimm.
first
Hold on. I
define
don't
what
think.
time
I don't
even
think Grimm.
means.
Hold on, Slick. I don't think Grimm brought all
That's
that
actually-
into it. You
I
just
know,
made
but
I
up
didn't.
don't
That's
a
not
whole
even
bunch
part of my
I know,
understanding
but
at
I'm
all.
bringing it up. I know, but he asked me what I thought about
I know,
it.
but
Now
you
I'm
you
bringing-
said you piggybacked it onto my name,
I know, but
like
I'm
Grimm
adding
said,
to
and
it
then you
now.
continued on and didn't
Okay,
say,
forget
well,
about the part that you said. and
Then
let's
like
talk
I
about the
said.
part that I said. Okay, forget about
Except-
that part.
okay,
right,
well,
well,
Let's talk
making
about
sure
the
you-
part that I said.
What was it?
I'm talking about the part that before man invented time, if space time is a real thing, it had to be bending time that man didn't invent. So what time was it bending?
this is so fucking.
I don't-
I know.
Hold on. Say
the
it
way
one
I
more
said
time.
it was a
Hold
little
on.
different.
Okay.
'cause-
One more. In other words, we know about the time that man goes by that he invented with his clocks. We know about that. But before that, space time. If space time is a thing, it was a thing before man came up with his conception of time.
Yeah,
So
I'm
what
with you.
time-
All right.
What?
I'm with you.
Okay. What time was being bent before man came along?
The space time.
I know, but what is it?
Well, if we're measuring, wait. What do we measure time as? It's changes. It's a series of changes, right? That's what we call time. Like the clock ticks or something happens. That's what we call time. So that was
There's a
happening.
philosophical question: if nothing moves,
So my
or
question
nothing
is,
changes,
what
just
what
time
is
goes.
space time measuring if it's not the ticks?
So some stuff was moving before man, and now it's still moving. Like I don't see the problem. I don't know. I'm not trying to answer for you, Grim. I don't mean.
No, you're fine. I'm not. This isn't for me. I think you moved
Yeah.
on to somebody
Yeah,
else.
I'm just trying to ask the question because when I hear about space time, well, I know about the time that man goes by, but this space time had to be bending way before man ever came along. So what time was
Why is-
being bent?
Why
Well,
is
I mean,
it a
and you're
problem?
there's two different ways to go after your arguments, like, and I
It's a
just
question.
no, I know. Or your question. There's two different ways to answer that. That's what I mean to say. And one of them would be that, you know, just because we came up a name for a name for something after we realized it was present doesn't mean that it wasn't present before we came up for the name. As a matter of
Okay, so
fact,
this
it's
is-
so.
okay.
For in other words, if I start now and
I
make up a
understand.
time, hold on, and I just just by the beats of my own heart, and I'll have 60 beats per, and I'll coincidentally end up with the same almost time schedule we have today.
I got your point.
Right,
So
and
now
I can
here's
try
my-
to just scale it back as many segments as I can,
I
and
know, but
find
I got,
a time
Ribs, I got-
set that
I
has
got
no
your
physical
point.
attributes, though. So
But I got
unlike
your point.
equations for space-time curvature, space-time has physical attributes in those equations, whereas it's not just math, but it's actually an application of a field by another definition, and the field is not defined. And that's where my problem is with space-time. The field is
Right.
not.
I got your point, but that's
Okay.
but my question is, you said that man is just matching the time that's already there. Is that what you said?
Beats.
Well, no, they're sparsing it up into countable segments.
Right. So in other
It was
words,
already
man-
there, and
Right,
all
so
they did
man-
was sparse it into countable segments.
Okay. Did they get it exact?
Well, of course not. How could you?
That's my point.
Yeah, mine too.
Can
That's
I-
my whole point.
Can I ask
So
something
my-
like?
So my whole point
Mine's
is
more than that.
This time. So when you do your
Point.
calculation based on a time that's not matching, you're
Well,
you're-
you can still be
Hold
accurate all the way
on,
up to
Hold on.
0 with fuck. Yeah,
My
it's.
point is, but you're going to be off.
Well,
if
you
you
don't
take a-
really know that you're going to be off.
If
Actually,
you take a 2x4,
Yeah.
hold on.
Hold
in
on.
science, you just say there is room for mistake. You don't say
Grim, hold
absolutes
on.
because it's not
Grim,
readable. And
hold on.
so I'm
If
just
the-
trying
if
to.
ma- if
Why do you
man's
keep
time-
interrupting me, dude? Hey, don't do that. I'm a grown ass man. I don't need another man interrupting me every time I start talking. It's fucked up. So in science, you don't use absolutes just to be reasonably and be fair, non-biased. So I'm not going to say absolute. And then you use that as an opportunity to say, see, you don't know anything. And it's really not true at all because it's predictable all the way up until you can't even count how many times it's predictable to the end of your life. And there still might be a chance that you'll never end up finding out that it's not predictable. But we still don't say it's absolute because it's unreasonable to do a thing like that until you get to infinity, which you can't. So you can't say it's absolute. You can't get infinity. So you got to stop using that as an opportunity to say you don't know when you're not at the absolute.
Well, Slick's
Nothing
right.
is 100% time.
If you take a
Okay, so
20-foot
my
2x4,
question, I'm trying to hold on to it before I lose.
go ahead,
The
Slick. I'm
question-
sorry.
The question that I have is that man's time doesn't match nature's time exact, correct?
They're the same thing. We
Are you
just
saying-
counted it.
I know,
Say
but
nature
are you
doesn't
what
saying-
is
count
nature's
you.
time.
Are
like
you
what-
saying that
what
they
is-
match identically?
Yes. Yes, it's we count it,
Okay.
nature doesn't.
Okay, you didn't say that.
That's
a
the only
second
difference.
ago.
No, actually I did because you won't accept that other answer because you think that's a step in to start saying, well, see, you guys don't know anything. So as
You
far
said
as you could
something
ever find
different a
out, it's
second ago.
exact, yes.
Let me ask
As far
something.
as you will ever find out in your life, and it also it changed. By isn't that interesting?
Basically, when it comes
Depending on
to
how
your
fast you're
very-
going.
I'm not gonna ask a gotcha from either of you. Let me just say something. If you take a 20-foot 2x4 and you measure it by inches, and your inches are not exact, the full thing is still the same length. Like you just got the measurement wrong. It's still the same physical length.
Exactly.
That's a nice
I can't
analogy.
hear anybody. I don't know. Check one. check.
Love these beats. Gary is pretty good. Gary David from LA.
What's going on here? I can hear my voice. Is anybody else talking? They're not popping up on fire.
Can you hear me, Slick James?
No, Slick can't hear anybody.
Dropped my phone and this happened.
He's hit his mute. He's
I only
deafened.
dropped it about a foot and it didn't even hit anything hard. And all of a sudden,
Oh,
everything-
shit.
Yeah, he can't hear anyone.
Last time this happened, Kaiser started masturbating.
Oh no.
Sweet.
I'll try and message him.
You retarded. what he did is ejected himself, and then when he comes back in, it'll still be deafened.
Is that a problem?
No, because he can still talk. See?
How come it's 2019 and we can't prove the Earth is a sphere? What
Thanks,
up, Slick?
P-Mars.
Yeah.
Welcome
But
back.
how is it 2019 and we can prove the Earth be any shape?
Now, can I get back to that question or did the conversation that I said?
Go ahead.
Okay, here's my question. Now, Grimm said at first that man's time doesn't match universe time exactly. Then he said it did. So I'm kind of confused.
Well, what I
don't
said
get it.
was we can't be absolutely sure. You're every time you get the opportunity.
No, well, I made a mistake.
Oh, you're gonna interrupt me again?
Because I'm trying to let you know maybe I made a mistake before you go into this long.
Yeah, you did. You did make a mistake. I didn't say that.
No problem.
What you keep on re-editorializing is actually I said we cannot be sure, and then I went on to tell you that we could go on throughout your whole lifetime and probably
I
never
heard-
find out that we're not sure, and then because we'll never get to infinity, and we'd have to be to infinity to know that we're sure, and since you can't get to infinity, you can never be sure. That's
Sure,
why
you
we're
know
not
what?
sure.
You know one of the reasons why it's hard to understand you? Because you put too much word salad in the answer. I got my answer.
Dude,
and
you
kept on
got the
going.
fucking attention span of a gnat.
No, goldfish.
Okay, so anyway,
Gold.
to continue the question, so if man is not sure, then that means his measurements, he can't.
Oh,
be
by your
sure.
standards, my man, we're sure.
Oh my god.
Trust me on that. That's what my
We know
point
1
was.
plus 1 equals 2.
It would
You
be-
understand what I'm saying? In other words,
Yeah,
if you're
by your
measuring
standards, we're sure.
space-time,
Yeah.
if you're making equations,
Your argument
based
has
on
nothing to
space-time-
do with the
I tell you
space-time
what,
argument.
I'm sorry I bothered you. I'll come back later on.
Yeah, shut up, dude. Crybaby ass. Fuck.
God,
Yeah.
We're
Slick
trying to
is so needy.
Question maths now. How we use math as a.
I know, like, wow. Gets interesting, doesn't it? No.
No, Slick is so needy. He just needs that validation. Like,
No, he wants intelligent people to talk to, but
he can't find them around here, apparently.
You guys knew what I meant, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
what-
I thought, wow, is it getting. How did I ever explain to my kids how to do shit? Am I that retarded? I couldn't figure out.
I understood half what you said because I've only got half the intelligence.
Look, I know you think it's fucking funny, Chemo, to keep moving me out of the room, but suck my dick, dude. Put my fat cock in your fucking mouth, you asshole.
Oh man, I hope that guy never has kids. And I'm talking about Slick.
My kid's grown.
I wish I was a woman so I
Chemo.
could have his babies.
I could have Slick if he ever wants kids.
Seriously.
Oh, that was a weird picture in my mind.
Sorry about that.
Nah, P Mars is a racist. That's what I've heard. So he wouldn't have his kids.
Those are lies.
Would you have Bertrand Russell's kids?
No, because he's atheist. He's like an atheist prophet.
P-Mars, whose baby would you have? Chemo's or Slick?
Oh shit, that's tough. I think Chemo. I like Chemo's accent.
Chemo or Debbie?
Debbie for sure.
I thought he was gonna say King again.
Chemo, are you around?
I think men should have the freedom to have a baby.
He's probably
if
just
they want.
ignoring us.
What part's the
Men should have the freedom to have a baby.
Yeah, why should we systematically oppress men and not let them have babies?
Technically, he did toss us. What's his name? To us.
You'd have to get an implant or something, man. I don't know.
So who's this person that put Slick onto us here? We're gonna have to.
I believe chemo.
Maybe, I'm pretty new here. Maybe it's just me, but it seems like Chemo stirs up some stuff, and then he's like, "Hey, Debbie, get him," or "Hey, David, get him," or "Hey, somebody, get him."
You'd think by now we'd have like a video of something going into space with a camera on it, so we could see the shape of the Earth.
We do.
Yeah, but they always
So get over it.
they always cut. They always like cut.
Yeah, well, just because. Well, where they don't. Do you think they go and film things just to prove things to flat earthers? No, they don't. They don't go out of their way to do that.
They had a Mars rover take a selfie. Like, is that enough, or that could be fake? You never know.
Mars is really just somewhere in Arizona or something.
No, I've seen the fucking video. Like, it's in Alaska. There's some dudes out there with some rovers. Well, how did they get there? That's not even possible. They can't even get there to fake it, bro.
To Arizona?
No, Antarctica. I said they were in Alaska, like, with their rovers and stuff. And then Real Flat Earthers said, no, Antarctica.
See, here, look at this picture. Do you think that's a real picture of Mars?
It's not come through yet for me.
You'd have to find its source.
I ain't clicking on it.
It's only an image, so it hasn't got a source file.
I mean, the rocks look pretty blue.
Yeah, well, you can't go anything by that image because you don't know the source file.
You can take an online quiz called Mars or Arizona. So they could
What if I got? Hold on. What if I got them wrong? Which one would I have to choose?
I mean,
What,
Mars,
was it a hustle? I'm sorry. Did somebody hear about that? Like, was it? I don't know if it's true or not. I'm trying to see if I'm having the spot. But wasn't it somebody was saying that the pictures of Mars were checked by a Horizon application or something, and it was found to actually not be like somewhere in Arizona for real? Or was that a fake?
That sounds fake, but I don't know.
Fake.
I don't think that's true. There's probably a bunch of nerds. There's probably a bunch of fucking nerds that care about that shit and study it.
Yeah, you would imagine.
Yeah. If I was smart enough, I'd be a fucking space dork. Like, would you not want to? I used to fucking run remote control cars when I was a kid, and that was amazing. If I could run it on a planet, like, away, yeah, that'd be the shit. But P, what if I failed that survey? Would I have to change my belief, like, one way or the other?
Mars looks so much like Arizona, man. It's hard to believe. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. But like, what if I don't know if that would. Either way you go on that survey, you'd probably be like, no, or yeah, and I'd probably keep believing my beliefs. I guess I don't. I'd be like, oh, they fooled me on that one, or like the other way, I'd be like, oh, they fooled me and I thought it was real, but it wasn't. Like, both ways.
Like right here, flat earthers have been able to find the same hill on Earth that they said was on Arizona. I mean, Mars. See? It's easy to mix up Arizona and Mars.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to source that for me though.
Yeah, I think that's something shit I did see. It just looks like they changed the color on it, doesn't it? Because obviously that's the same fucking photo.
Yeah, but you just have to source that photo and prove that they didn't just put like fucking Tom from.
Well, it is. It is. It is Photoshop.
I mean, I love Mars. Like, my name is P. Mars. You know, I used to really believe in Mars, so I really want Mars. I'm just trying to prove Mars to myself, you know.
My old name was P in Uranus, but like I had to change it.
Like, one thing is undeniable though. That's the same photo. One's just altered, right? Or the same hill at least.
And the Tom Servo in like the bottom left. Yeah. It's Photoshop, but it has to be. No, but in all seriousness though, like I don't know, like some of the pictures look like they might not be real, but like I overall I believe they are. Also the god of like weapons or something, right? Something like that. Ares was the Greek one, or Mars is the Roman one, something like that.
Yeah, Mars and Ares. It's god of war. This battle for truth is like a war, really. An info war, if you will.
This is a man. This is what a man looks like. Blood beating through my heart.
What the fuck? Love songs from the apocalypse?
Grim, what do you do for work, man?
What is it?
He's a drug dealer.
What do you do for work, man? I said.
I'm a drug dealer.
Alright.
No, I
Shit,
don't.
Hook me up, bro. Fuck.
No, it's not like that.
I work on computer shit.
You have to be a dispenser. You have to actually be a California dispenser.
Yeah, I mean.
And to sell any random Joe fucking weed.
Yeah, who would do that? That's fucking crazy. But yeah, I work in computer shit, bro.
Interesting.
I used to live out in San Diego, though. It's beautiful.
Are you flirting with me? I'm just kidding. I'm just fucking San Diego.
What, because Navy's out there?
Yeah. You know.
I don't think he was initially, but then when he found out you were a drug dealer, yeah, he started flirting.
I'm in Texas now. We get that good.
Yeah. Almost everything's got to be grown indoor in Texas, except for time of year.
Yes, sir. Or if you're gonna go out of state. It's crazy though. We have like a mix, a huge mix of people just randomly brought together in this fucking flat earth psyop shit.
Yeah, I know.
Like fucking P Mars is an intellectual. He reads books. Terry fixes cars. He's from Australia.
P Mars isn't as dumb as he looks. He's not as dumb.
Shroomi's from another.
Some real personalities.
Terry's just like. Oh shit! I'm sorry, P Mars.
No, I was saying, yeah, there's some real personalities on the flat Earth community here. Yeah.
Are we all flatties? Like in reality?
I mean, I think the people that argue for the sphere are flat earthers too. They spend so much time in the flat earth world.
What if I told you I could feel the movement of the earth in my inner ear canal? Like, it's that sensitive. 15 degrees per hour.
I can say you're lying.
Yeah, you're right, Jeff.
I'm jealous of your ability to sense the movement of the earth, because I wish if I could do that, then I wouldn't have to believe in the earth is flat anymore, you know? But I just can't sense it moving. It looks flat, so it's hard to move on from this without evidence.
Well,
The worst hoe.
I take my spirit level outside and I put it on the ground, and the spirit level says it's flat.
Every day, Terry, every day. You can try it multiple times every day and it's still flat. Like, yeah, I agree with you, Terry. Look, I don't know what you believe, but I don't have any beliefs.
Right, I could see her argument like already like 5 steps ahead in what she wanted to do, because the funny thing with Brenda is that
anyway, real fat earther, I don't know if you were here earlier when I asked, but when you go up in a rocket, if the possibility presented it to you,
argues with me with that idea. So it's a funny type of way I looked at it, and I made fun to it too as well. So
yeah,
I could get on this panel.
Information and
She argues with the idea. So what kind of?
I don't know if I want to talk to these people though.
I gotta leave. Even
can I go tell them that I proved the flat Earth to the sphere tards?
Yeah, you need to tell me whatever you told me is real must be fake. You're watching. It's like I play around and I flirt in a way with these discussions, because I can already see what they're trying to project. And
why does he got a picture of a fucking six-pack?
Part of the listener. I was listening.
Fuck.
I did respond back to. But
why does he have man boobs? Is this like him?
That's my point. There's a lot of people that's out there that would somewhat give you misinformation. If you can see 5 steps ahead and take it, own it, and if you can present it, slap it down to it, and see if you can go further in a discussion, you know, because sometimes you know it doesn't build, it disappears in the ether. So shout out to the Knights of Malta.
Knights of Malta.
Hey, you know how we're talking about numbers? See that number 432, and they, you know, that's everywhere, and they say it's the number of man. Well, I found this thing, and it goes, the beats of a healthy human heart is 60. 60 per minute times 60 minutes equals 3,600. So there's your 360 circle. Beats per hour.
And did you know?
Equals 800. 86,400 beats a day.
Well, check
This
this out,
also-
Cable.
Yeah.
Check this out. This is how we're saying. This is how we're saying that the numbers have been conditioned. Those are they're conditional values, or they're there, the place values. We didn't experiment this. We didn't know exactly how we're not asking questions how we got it. But you're seeing the signs of 60. All right, 60 seconds as well. 60 beats per minute. Now, even on the thermal side, British thermal side, it's 60,000 BTUs per hour. So it's 1,000 BTUs per minute. So everything is weird. So it seems like these are also place values that it may have been created as well. I'm not here to debunk it, but there is somewhere of a measure.
Yo, what's up, Lauren? What's up, Goddess Witch Bella?
So it's very interesting. The 432.
We're just flat earthing.
I'm not sure how we got that number as well, but we are playing it.
432.
The only thing I can actually be objective to it is that people are actually playing that sound in the meditation. So I'm trying to see if that's the actual pitch, but that's the 432 that we're talking about.
432.
You know, I've bounced
Where do we see
I don't
this
know if
symbol?
it's healthy or feeling. If you were to do a hearing test, they do that type of pitch, those little sound pitches.
Yep.
So 432 could be right. I don't know.
Well, it's in everything. It's in, the distance to the moon, the speed of light, human heartbeat. That's why I think, space, they're converting our information and working it out in space, or in everything. Or maybe that's because we're a fractal pattern of everything that's around us as well.
Hey, Jill, did you see the? Oh my God! I just came in to check out the watch. Did you see the meme on the couch with Dan and Zer?
I can't really make out the faces, so I have no idea who they are. This one says woke as...
Yeah, Dan on the couch and Zer on a chair, I think.
Oh, this is interesting. The Knights of Malta are the militia of the Pope and are sworn to total obedience by blood oath, which is taken extremely seriously and to the death. I can't read this shit on the left. Most royals are Knights of Malta. A lot of high-leveled politicians and businessmen are Knights of Malta. A few examples. Rockefeller, Kissinger, don't know who that is. Greenspan, he was the head of that Federal Reserve. Ted Turner, Bush, Murdoch. I don't know the fuck. Giuliani, Tony Blair, I don't know who these guys are. Michael Bloomberg, Bloomberg. And Joe Biden, looks like. Joe Biden's in the news lately being a creep. Hashtag me too. Policies and principles of the Knights of Malta. Those who are presently members of the Knights of Malta must, on penalty of death, support those policies advocated by the Vatican. It is not hard for them to do this. They believe in these policies and principles. The policies which are espoused and proclaimed by the office of the Pope are as follows. End of sovereignty for the United States and other countries. Yeah, we know that's definitely on the agenda. End of absolute property rights. Is that in Agenda 21? I think something similar to that is in Agenda 21. I'd have to go double check. Yeah, one of these fucking slaves. I was on a panel with one of these slaves yesterday on Jose's, and he was like, "I'm not a slave, I own things." Well, end to absolute property rights, there you go. That's on the agenda, so Have fun owning shit while you can, I guess. End of all gun rights. The new international economic order, world government, the redistribution of wealth and jobs. Calls for nations to trust the United Nations. Total disarmament. Promote the United Nations as a hope for peace. Promote UNESCO, the deadly educational cultural arm of the United Nations. Promote interdependence. Support sanctions honoring Father Pierre Teilhard de Chardin, the New Age humanist priest. Support the belief that the economic principle of traditional Christian or Catholic social doctrine is the economic principle of communism. Promote the Pope as the acting go-between for the United States and the Soviet Union. Hashtag delete the elite. Did delete the elite make this shit? No, I don't think so. I think that's just a coincidence. They took our sovereignty!
He does that, but I think he's a real flat earther, but not a real flat earther.
I own stuff. I'm not a slave. I have a house with a mortgage.
No, I'm actually driving. So the stories of dick smearing and shit are pretty unlikely.
You can drive with one hand. Like, I mean, that's possible.
5 feet.
Hey Moyak, you got any proof of the sphere yet?
Of course.
Yeah,
Sunset.
right.
What sun?
Rob Skiba said there's no issue with sunsets on a flat plane, motionless.
Moyak's right. There's a lot of problems with it.
I'm sure there are, but you'd have to be a scientific master to understand them, so...
Oh, wow. Perspective
I can't see
doesn't answer.
I can't see the sun at the moment because there's too much cloud.
I've been educated in this system where, you know, they have some people are given special scientific knowledge and they're holders of scientific power, and we're not allowed to question them. Just like you couldn't question the priest, right? Because the priest knew more about God than you. You couldn't question him.
Real flat earther, that's amazing. I love it.
When you do nothing but question and never seek the truth, that's not much of a method there. Or only seek your own biased answers.
Yeah.
Sorry, P. I didn't mean to talk over you. Go ahead, dude. I'm sorry.
How do you determine the truth? You just believe what the scientific establishment tells you is the truth?
You can use a little logic and reason once in a fucking while.
Well, if you think 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2, well, then that's the way you go.
But the people who lie to us are the ones who instilled your logic and reason. So of course they're going to teach you how to logic and reason to come to the conclusion that they want, which is believing in their lies.
Even assuming some things they said were lies, that doesn't mean that everything's lies, right?
Well, when there's not a right lie, they're spinning the truth, or they're lies by omission. I can't hear this guy, so I gotta rejoin.
Was it actually a conspiracy or not?
Were you asking me a question I couldn't hear?
Well, yeah, go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
I don't know, it's no big deal. You had said something yesterday, and this kind of also applies to it. You said, I think, that it was easy to make math that would fake the ball. And you also just said that it's easy for them
That you can
to make
manipulate
you
logic.
logic and reason things wrong.
Yeah, you can't manipulate logic. And
Ninja,
reasoning.
shut up. More Aqua's talking, please.
Yeah, I'd like to know how you manipulate logic and how you manipulate math. If it's so easy, I would think that they would have come up with a flat Earth math.
Oh, it's like the German philosopher Fichte said that education should aim at destroying free will so that after the pupils have left school, they should be incapable throughout the rest of their lives of thinking or acting otherwise than as their schoolmasters would have wished. And this is the guy who advocated the introduction of the Prussian education system, which is what we still use to this day. It's
Okay.
a system similar to that.
Now you
But-
got to explain how what they're doing is actually accomplishing that.
How does one manipulate logic?
I think the fact that you believe you're on a sphere and you can't prove it is, and then you like refuse to look at
That's not a very good answer.
We're not talking about a sphere. I'm talking about manipulating logic.
Right, they just educate you on how to think, right? And then you can't criticize.
Yeah, you're
them.
thinking real good here.
They don't teach you how to think critically
But-
and question your indoctrination.
Logic, it goes beyond the realms of just being taught fact, right? Logic is not being taught fact. Logic is stuff that is fundamental to reality around, right? Or the way that we can reason with other people. Like how do you reason with some person? You have to use fundamental part of reality to reason with each other, right? And that's what logic. We're talking about a fundamental thing. You can't that can't be manipulated. I don't think they can manipulate logic. Nobody can, right? I am, therefore I am. That sort of stuff. How do you manipulate that?
You're not because you're not. Ah, there you go.
Yeah. Oh, you did it. Oh shit. We shut down.
Just manipulate the information that the logic is based off. Simple.
It's not based on. That's the thing that I'm saying. Logic is not based on information. It's based on reasoning. Right. It's not based
Something
on
fundamentally flawed in most flat earthers.
Axioms,
Right.
epistemology, belief systems.
Well, yeah. They go to the base, like the fundamental things about reality that we can know about.
Axioms. That's
And
what
then build on
That's
that.
what P
Yeah.
said. Yeah. Okay. So we all agree that we have different axioms that we start with. So P Mars, what are you saying? is that-
I don't
I'm
think
saying
you
like
can-
they
no,
can
no,
indoctrinate our axioms and thus affect our logic.
Okay,
No.
they disagreed. They disagreed that we don't start with basic axioms.
Well, I would say that you start with the oh my god, the basic fundamental beliefs, right? There's another word for it.
Those are called axioms. They're like
Are they?
self-evident. Like, yeah.
It's not what. Right. Yeah. there's some-
Presuppositions. I don't know, something like that.
There's a different.
Wrecked this idiot.
Like the absolute basis that you can get back.
Yeah. But we all agree that we start with some basics, right? And we have to agree.
Which can't be it's really hard to manipulate.
There's no way I could
can't
be
manipulate.
lied to. It's impossible.
Okay, sure. What do you say to that, P?
I think the fact that he thinks that makes him one of the most easily manipulated people probably on this Discord.
I think you still haven't
He said we
explained how
start
they
with
manipulate out the laws of reason.
basic
and
beliefs.
stuff.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
What they call it properly basic belief. So there's in like when you're reasoning and stuff like that, there's a thing called like, and in philosophy they call it properly basic beliefs, and they're properly basic because they can't be manipulated. Like that's basically what they are. They can't be manipulated.
There's
no
5
way.
minutes and Ninja Wallaby sneaks in.
Oh, I know.
Hey,
I'm
Wallaby.
really drunk as well. Jesus Christ.
Oh no.
not again. But I think you can't manipulate foundations of knowledge, right? That we have. You know, you can't manipulate 2 + 2 = 4 to make it mean something else. You can't manipulate the properly basic beliefs that are fundamental to people reasoning. That's non-manipulatable, right?
So, P-Mars, what do you think about that?
What it doesn't. They don't really have to manipulate what he's saying.
But you said they do.
Fundamental beliefs.
Hold on, let him answer. Let him answer.
Okay. Sorry.
I mean, your logic and reasoning is based off axioms and epistemology, and if you can establish axioms and epistemology, then you know how people will logic and reason through it, then you can manipulate them because you can give them the fundamental basis to come to the logic and reason that you originally desired, that you wanted them to have.
No, I don't think you can. You can have you can have a basic setup of what you think about the world, but you can't with the properly basic belief. You like the law of excluded middle. You know, things can't contradict each other in a sense. Right? You can't make a statement that contradicts itself. You can't. These are things that are properly based, and these are the basic laws of reasoning and logic that we all have, and we might not even know that we're using them at the time when we're using them, but we do. And you can't manipulate that. Like, so
you can. Okay,
I don't agree with you, P-Mark.
I'll give you an example, right? Let's say one of the reasons people verify something or come to a truth is if multiple sources will back up a claim, right? It's multiple credible sources will back up a claim.
Credible, yeah.
And you think these sources are autonomous, right? Well, if you read Carroll Quigley's book, he says that one of the way the establishment manipulates us is they'll put out the same agenda, the same whatever thing they want us to believe through different avenues that seem on the surface to us autonomous, but are actually connected, right? And then we will logic or reason to believe it because, everyone is saying the same thing. And then we'll go, oh, well, everyone's saying the same thing probably because it's true. And they use that to manipulate how we think. And that's based off how they've taught us to logic and reason through things.
I think you're talking about something. You're talking about something completely different to what what you're talking about is like how there's a manipulation of truth, or there's a manipulation of fact, or things like that. And when I say facts, I mean like in inverted commas, facts. They're not. Fact by definition is a fact.
Right. Well, Orwell said freedom is the freedom to say 2 + 2 = 4, right? You know what he meant by that?
2 + 2 = 4.
Yeah, he said freedom is the freedom to say 2 + 2 = 4. If that is granted, then all else follows. And what he meant was that freedom is the ability to say what is actually true. Freedom! Now we live in a society where you're not allowed to say what's true. You'll get called racist or homophobic and all this stuff for saying things that are true. It's another way.
I think you've gone into another. I got into the discussion because you were saying that they can manipulate a person's reasoning and a person's ability of logic, right? To use logic.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're talking about something completely different, I believe.
Yeah.
Which I don't completely disagree with either. I think that is. I think it happens in society now. I agree a little bit. I don't agree with some of your statements beforehand, but I agree with what some of what you're saying.
To some extent, axioms have to be something that like most people agree on, right? Like whatever the case may be, the base case, like most people have to agree on it, or you wouldn't take it for granted. But we do. So there's like a basic set of axioms that we all agree to are true.
Yeah.
Good morning, Merle.
I have to ask what an axiom is.
It's just
Like a basic. It's like a set of rules almost. It's like a it's like a rule that you can have, you know, an axiom.
Which rule?
The way that you think about. Yeah, but they could
Terry,
apply to anything. There could be a lot of different things, but you know.
It's anything that is
Terry,
established, like the Earth being a globe.
A
would be an
basic
axiom.
proof.
well, no. Here's an
Right.
example, Terry. Something can't be true and false at the same time. That's a basic axiom that like everyone agrees to.
That's also a properly basic belief as well, right? They're properly basic beliefs that people hold to be true, and you can call them that. They are also called axioms. Yeah. You can't
Ugly and
contradict.
beautiful at the same time.
Like let's say, like you said, there was a married bachelor, right? That's not a thing, right? That can't be true. That's not a true statement. So,
You
Because
yourself
the word-
exist.
The word bachelor means an unmarried male. So if you
Means
say
unmarried.
bachelor, yeah,
yes,
yeah.
if there is a married bachelor, then it's a not true statement.
Like a sober drunk.
Shout out to
Mm.
Merle.
Shout out,
Yeah.
Shirley.
It would be an oxymoron to say that this drunk was sober. Yeah, or this. Well, a drunk person can. A drunk, in technicality, could be sober.
No, Ninja, you're a drunk. Don't try to justify it.
But a drunk person can't be sober at the same time, right? So that would be not true, and that's like the exclude. I think that's the rule of the law of the exclude middle. Is, you know,
Think about a logical flat earther.
Okay, I got it now. You just,
No, you're exactly
Yeah. Now you get it.
Now, there you go. Thanks, Maya. Why do you say that in the first place?
Duality is just an illusion, actually, because like you can't separate being drunk and being sober, right? Because you need one to have the other. They can't exist independently of each other.
Right. It would be an untrue statement if you said I am drunk and also sober at the same time.
Well, that
would be an untrue statement.
But it's kind of funny, like
Merle.
they seem like they're polar opposites, but they're actually, I mean, connected. Like everything's connected because to have heat, you need to have cold to know what heat is, right? So there's a relationship with these things that seem like they're polar opposites, but they're actually like a close
How do you apply
relationship.
that to how do you apply that to reasoning? Like you have to be wrong to know that you could be right, like that kind of thing.
Right, there has to be people that are wrong for there to be people that are right. They can't exist
No,
without
I
each
don't
other.
think. No, that doesn't follow. Those
does.
those
That's not
statements
logical.
don't follow.
It
What?
does.
What?
Does
What
follow.
if someone says they're speaking the truth but they're lying?
Mm.
To buy
Sometimes you gotta lie to know what the truth is.
to
Well,
buy
it doesn't
something.
follow. The statements don't follow. For people to be, what you're saying that for truthful statements to be made, there has to be other people making wrong statements. That doesn't
No,
follow.
for you to recognize them as true,
Okay.
you would have to have recognized wrong statements.
For someone to buy something, there has to be
No,
a seller,
that-
right? So you can't just buy something without someone selling something, right? Like there's a relationship
Sure,
there. They can't
that
have one
follows.
without the
Yeah,
other.
That's true.
So like
Like-
where on the surface it appears they're the opposites, right? Selling and buying are opposites, but they're actually
They're
duality.
intrinsically-
is really just a illusion of what is actually a unity between the two things.
What is the value of that statement?
It's a philosophical value.
Well, it's a synthesis. It's basically saying you have to recognize both things and synthesize them into one. But like on its own, it's not like some super profound statement.
Well, that means that there can be the possibility of deception in the duality as well, thinking that two things are separate when they're not. There could be some deception.
Exactly, Lemon.
They're obviously not separate. Without you can't buy something without selling something.
You could confuse two things. You could confuse them as the same thing, but they're not. They're two different parts.
The point is, there's no such thing as duality. They're all everything is a mutual relationship.
That doesn't follow at all. That doesn't follow.
Duality is part of the deception.
Oh God, whatever.
Whenever a lie is told,
no, they say we can't know good unless there's evil, or we wouldn't know the difference. But how do you know that?
Well, the thing is, whenever a lie is told, when a lie is told, you're split, because the part of you that is good wants to go toward the truth, and the part of you that's evil wants to go away from it. So, duality does happen with deception also.
Mm-hmm.
I know lots of liars who are perfectly happy lying. Look at Chemo. Look at Chemo.
I don't think it necessarily. It doesn't necessarily mean. I don't think it necessarily means if something is good, there is an evil component to an opposite component. Right?
It's a choice, yes, there will be. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to recognize it and fully, recognize the freedom. Because if it was all good,
evil, that makes evil a part of good, Lemon. That makes evil a part of good.
Right.
No.
Right.
It's still separate. Otherwise,
that's why.
Ironically, there would be no duality. That would be a unity if good and evil were the same. It's duality when they're different.
But you can't
separate.
You can't part of the same.
You can't have it to where there's only good and there's no evil, right? You need the evil, so it's like the ideal world would be mostly good.
Know what evil is?
It's like good is almost always winning, but never quite wins, and evil is always in a state of winning.
That doesn't mean that it's part of the design. You need to have an optimal amount of evil. It's just there,
How would you recognize good? How would you recognize good without evil? It's part of good.
You're happy. You're happy.
That's the
You're happy, then it's good, right? It's good.
Did it happen again? I disappeared for 5 seconds.
That's why I think the atheist argument of why does God let bad things happen is really stupid. It's because there needs to be this opposites.
There needs to be evil for good to exist.
Yeah,
I don't think that's true.
There needs to be,
I don't think that's true.
There needs to be.
I don't think that's a true
challenge for us to overcome. What would life be without a challenge?
Hold on, man. Just actually think about what you're talking about. What you're saying is that if they're for the meanings of these, right? Because that's what we're talking about definitional things here, like the defining standard of good and the defining standard of evil. You're saying that they have to exist together, otherwise we wouldn't know. Are you saying that I wouldn't know what something is if I didn't have an example of evil? I wouldn't know what a good thing is. I don't think that's true.
Can I take that real quick? Because I've got this.
Sure.
What's up, Ninja? You, in my opinion, you wouldn't even need to ask the question if you knew the answer. And I've had deep showdown with evil in my life. Evil to me is a great teacher and friend. You can learn so much from evil, getting right up close and personal.
Do they are they intrinsically linked so that there must be evil for there to be good? Is it intrinsically linked? I don't think.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. It's more there's a spectrum. So again, we have this thing of good and evil, black and white, right and wrong.
A binary. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, that's the illusion, as far as I'm concerned. But it's way more multifaceted and broad. It's like taking two colors out of a rainbow when you've got a full rainbow spectrum. There's more going on than just good and evil. That's all. That's the realization.
What about
It's
the
the
kid
same.
who lives a charmed life his entire life and wealthy, comfortable, loving parents? What evil has he experienced up to the point when he gets robbed?
It's not even.
He knows it's good. He enjoys it.
Yeah. It's a lesson.
Well, if he's led that charmed life and had no care for his brother while, he's, starving on the street or dying or in need of help.
He wasn't even exposed to the brother. He's a rich kid living on
Yeah.
essential his palace. And everybody who interacts with him is nice. He experiences a really,
Nice
really
people,
good, solid upbringing.
Yeah.
Well,
he had challenges and hardships, but he had to learn
Is it
trigonometry.
worse though? Like maybe it's worse. Maybe it's worse for that guy, right? It's worse. It's a worse evil that he suddenly gets
Human
mugged.
contrivances.
Maybe it's worse.
What sort of things?
I think the second that he experiences evil, he'll recognize it.
Yeah, but what do you define evil and good as?
No, I don't think we can.
That's up to you. That's up to you to decide, Terry. That's your moral compass.
Well, I was saying, like, they would define each other, right? Like, if everyone had the exact same morality, then there wouldn't be a good and evil because we'd all be the same. Like, you couldn't define what was good or evil if everyone was the same. You know what I'm saying?
Well, good implies there's a mark that you could reach that is the highest mark. And so I don't know of a way to define good and evil without, the maker of the mark, God, directing your steps and guiding your life. He knows what's, good and evil, in ways that...
Lemon, what if you wanted to be the best serial killer in the world? Like the best, like the highest.
Is it good for you? Is it good for you?
If God has a different design for you that's better and good,
You don't know
that
that.
would not be
You
the
can't
highest
make
good.
that
That would be
decision.
good for you, but that wouldn't necessarily be the good.
Lemon,
Why
Lemon.
do you need to define good and evil?
That's a progression.
Because otherwise, you can't say better or worse, or have a mark for improvement, or
That's what I'm saying.
deterioration.
Right.
Yeah.
Lemon, you want to be the best serial killer in the world. You can have a mark and a goal and get better and better. You could be like, I killed 20 people this year, or 50 people this year, whatever. Why is that bad?
Because there's something better.
What could be better than that?
According to God, your maker, it depends.
Socially, we would consider those actions evil, right? We would consider that evil. And I think that's probably more to the point. We consider things to be socially poor. If you're doing something socially poor, we label that evil. If you're doing something socially well, we label that good, right?
Yeah. I met a girl once. She did sabotage art. So she'd have magazine covers of beautiful women and she'd make them ugly. That was her art. But part of where she was coming from was to destroy what's beautiful. And that's what I want to like. Why would you want to kill someone in the first place? Like take their life from them. I mean, that's a big thing. That's their life.
Yeah, I don't think that was good. I was just making that as a point that you could like go towards a goal and not be good.
Well, I mean, there is power in that. If you can't be as good or as beautiful as something else, you can destroy it. And that void you can take up and occupy, which is, part of one of the essences of evil, replacement, so that where there was something else.
I hear the
It's
argument.
not a real thing.
I hear the argument.
Evil
Why
Evil's
are we
not
talking
a,
about
not a
porcupine?
thing. Good is not a thing. We can't. There's no. There is legitimately no good in evil. It's just it's a label that we put on people doing good things and doing evil. Right? These are things that we socially recognize. Everyone socially recognizes these things, and they say, "Well, in a social context, you go, well, killing people is bad. We don't want to kill people."
It's a social construct.
Yeah, that's the
Well,
new. That's
yes,
the new.
yes,
That's the
it's
new
fucking
age.
evil.
That's what they're trying to brainwash into us with the new age relativity, moral relativity. But I don't know. I disagree with that. I guess I'm a moral realist. So.
Well, the thing is, we don't have that precedent in the physical world. You know, there's a direction, there's north and south, there's this way and that way, and more moral-wise, there's better and worse. As long as there's something out there that's better, and some being, some person with the vision to go for it, there will always be good and evil, a direction toward good and a direction toward evil. It's up to us to be honest and to recognize it and to be humble and submit to superior.
No, I don't. I hate the word humble. I really fucking hate the word humble. I love the word humble when it's some guy that's like done bad and he has to eat some humble pie to apologize to the society that he's done something bad to. But I hate the word humble being utilized in that way. Like you're saying that everyone has to be fucking humble. Right, everyone has to be has a fundamental wrongness in them. Right, I don't like that. I don't like religion a lot. I think religion has a lot to answer for in making people feel guilty about doing nothing. You know, making people feel guilty over fucking.
Science is starting to do that now. Science is
want to get off.
Science is doing that now with climate change. They're making people feel
talk?
guilty for no reason.
Sit down, bitch. Be humble.
People were talking over you, Moyak. I don't know. I just wanted to hear what you were saying.
I don't know. I question. There was, you'd say there's moral, and moral is a specific thing, and it seems to emanate from a magical being in the sky. But I contest that moral is a social construct based by the culture that you're in, and we can all agree on what is moral and what is not moral. But it would appear that in the Bible there's a lot of immorality on the part of God and His commands, like kill babies, rape, pillage, so forth and so on.
Slavery.
Stone people for picking up sticks.
Do genocide, right? Literal genocide.
These are all things that we all agree today with societal constructs, with humanity using their own reason, logic, and feeling that is bullshit.
It's a top point, Moya, because God seems to get blamed for all our misdeeds.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that the commandments were to do this. We chose not to. We think that it's better not to kill people.
Yeah, but again, my issue is, where did the commandments come? Like, all knowledge seems to come from humans, not God.
Isn't that one of the
challenges? The commandment isn't.
You have this book of God, and then God's telling you to do something. And the
it wasn't
really low.
It was written by men.
The commandment isn't "thou shalt not kill," it's "thou shalt not murder." Like, there's a difference. There's sanctioned killings.
100%.
Oh God.
And like the idea with God asking the guy to kill his baby, I mean, that's showing that
it's dumb. He's dumb.
It's not dumb. It's not dumb. There's a point. Ninja. There's a morally wrong. There's a point to the story, right, where like we have a limited perspective of what's good, right, and wrong because we're human beings and we're extremely limited and narrow-minded, whereas God is far back and sees the larger picture. So only God can truly know what is right for wrong, and it's hard for us to understand. It makes no sense that killing a baby, obviously it seems like the most wrong thing possible, imaginable, but like in God's greater wisdom, only He can know what is truly right or wrong, and you have to have faith in Him and follow.
So we should kill faggots and babies.
I mean, I can prove that I can give you a story to prove that what I'm saying is true. It's because, like, for example, like there's a guy who had a horse and it ran away, right? And everyone was like, "Oh, that's a bad thing. You lost a horse." Then the next day, the horse comes back and it's got three more horses with it. 3 wild horses brings 3 wild. So now he's got 4 horses. Right, okay. So they're like, "Wow, it's a good thing. Now your horse running away became a good thing," you know. And then his son's trying to break in one of the new horses and train it, and he falls off and breaks his leg, and they go, "Oh, now it's a bad thing. Now that's terrible." But there's like really a lot of noise. Holy shit. So then the military comes and recruits people for the army the next day, and because his son broke his leg, he can't go to the army. So now that's a good thing. And the point of the story is that if you from our limited perspective, he can't, you know, he thinks things are good or bad, but then over time they change whether they're good or bad. And like we can never really know what's good or bad. Only God can know that because He has the perspective to understand. So we're humans. We can't know that stuff.
So wait, are you saying
there is no God? God is not. God doesn't exist.
Hold on. Oh no, God's a human construct.
Yes.
Well, how do you know that?
Somebody was saying
I don't know it. I can't know it. By definition, I can't know it.
But history dictates where God's come from.
I think we can logically deduce that God exists.
No, I don't think you can either. I don't think you can. I've heard that the clam cosmological argument.
Have you, Ninja? Have you looked at yourself in the mirror lately? I'm not fucking with you. Like what you exist in is fucking high level biological technology, dude.
Okay.
Yep, we both agree on that.
So there's no God, right? And we all just agree as a society on rules and moral structure, right?
Yep.
But society across the world is totally different. And so if we're supposed to agree on consensus what good and evil is, that would only be possible via globalism, with everybody perfectly connected.
I don't think it's purely through. I don't think it's purely through consensus either.
With this society having a moral ideal that they had a consensus on, and this society having a moral ideal that they had a consensus on, isn't that still just a recipe for war and conflict as these societies take it out to see what's good?
Do you know the history of the world?
We are doing that right now. We are at war with each other.
There's no God as an arbiter. There's no hope.
Why are we at war with each other?
Because we can't. We don't have a consensus. We don't have a consensus over what is moral and not moral. Right? We don't have that consensus.
The ideals are different in different countries.
Do you think it has something to do with not knowing where we are and what we really come from, and what the rules of the game are?
If there are rules.
That's your question, but that wouldn't be what their question would be.
Yeah, that's fair.
There are any there are no rules. There's
no rules.
What we think of, we have what we think of as rules. I don't murder people. Otherwise, I will be arrested and put into prison. Right? Whether if I wanted to do that or not, it doesn't really matter.
Imagine this. When before the world became small and we reached all corners of the world, there was every form of culture that you could imagine across the globe. There was cannibals who thought it was okay to eat the dead. There was cannibals who thought it was okay to eat their enemies.
They were morally right within their own culture.
And they were all morally right
to do that. Yes.
We have reached a consensus as the empires went around the world and murdered the people in their own countries, doing immoral things like telling them not to eat each other. And
Sure.
eventually the people reached an agreement by gun or by reason.
Well, the
Okay.
problem is.
Well, hold on. Let me say something about that. If morals are based on the society, then why would they change? Like, the society said women shouldn't vote. Why would we get the idea that women should vote? Where would
Well,
that moral
it changed-
change?
It would.
Actually, that
hold on.
was a few people who convinced the majority.
Or like
Yes.
slavery. I mean, if it was morally okay for slavery thing, why
It
would we
was
abolish it?
morally.
people convinced the
It was
majority.
for a long time to be morally. It was morally okay. Keep slaves for a very long time.
So
And
then
that's
it's like,
fine.
it's morally okay, and then all of a sudden, like 60% of the people switch their opinion to the other side, and then now it's immoral? Like, that's not how morality works. It doesn't make sense.
And
Well,
also,
that's
the
true.
submission that we were talking about. I mean, how can you recognize something as superior or inferior morally from another society or even within your own society unless you're willing to submit to superior morality? If you're proud, you're going to say, we've done this for years and it's moral and it's right and we don't have to.
Wouldn't be
Still going to have slaves and we're still
Nope.
not going to
A
let
society that used to like Jews can be convinced to hate Jews and kill them.
Yes.
And turn them
not
in.
morally tenable without submitting to superior morality and having a will toward better and worse, toward good and or evil. Consensus does not always do that with man's sinful will to power. You need
That's
God.
it. Millions of people can
Why?
be
Why do you need God? God has not done any of this. God has not changed people over time, right? We have had the Christian God has caused genocide. Said that this is okay to do. It's okay to have slaves. It's okay to kill gay people. That's your Christian God. Your Christian
That's
God
not God. That's not
advocates. Well, but he has advocated for these things.
No, they say
Correct.
it's in the name of. It's in the name of the Father, in the name
It's
of
in the
God.
fucking book, man. It's in the book. You can't even eat
But
some
man
shellfish.
wrote the book. So
So
it's
how do
not
we know what
God.
God? Okay, absent the book, what makes you think Jesus Christ is Lord and Savior, and that I don't know that the Ten Commandments are something that God desires?
I think Jesus more represents a human being, one that attained a level of enlightenment
Okay, how do you know about him?
because he's
Yeah,
been
yeah.
written and spoken of.
You don't know
Aha.
anything about him.
I don't. I never met him. Don't even know if those pictures of him are real.
Oh,
The
they're
dude
not.
with the beard, pointing to his heart that has wings on it with light coming out of it.
No, yeah. It must have been amazing.
And that's the iconography, isn't it?
He's the way, the truth, and the light, and the only sure way to the Father.
So if the book is not the Word of God, then how do you know anything about God's desire?
Exactly. Good question, Mike.
The Holy Spirit will speak to you.
Well, can you
Never
answer
spoke to me
it?
that I can tell.
It would be nice if you could answer the question, you know.
It's
The
up
Holy
to each
Spirit.
person to look inside their own heart.
And that's how we come to society making morality.
Yeah, I agree.
What,
with Merle.
Ninja, though? Hang on a second. Ninja, why did you roll your eyes at that?
Because it's so because anyone can make those claims, right? Anybody with their own book can make those kinds of claims.
Well,
The claims that you're making is what anyone can do. Given a you know, the only reason we take the Bible as true. The only reason that Christians take the Bible as a true historical fucking document is because it's old. That's it. It's just
No.
because it's old.
And
You
it
know,
had
like,
city.
given enough time, I could write a book today, and given enough time, people will be worshipping me when I'm
That's
long
true.
time
Someone-
dead.
Someone's going to be lying, and the Holy Spirit will let you know if it's a lie or if it's the truth.
There's
What
whole
is the Holy
cultures that don't
Spirit?
follow that.
It takes a lot of talent to start a religion, Ninja. I don't know if you're up for it.
Well, isn't the problem?
I'll make the drunk man's the drunkard form of Christianity or something like that. I don't know.
Well, religion is part of the problem, but part of the problem is that man corrupts good religion. You know, religion that actually unites you with God and helps you go straight toward Him and guide your life. Man corrupts everything because he's sinful and bad, whether it's atheism or religion. So we're still going to have this problem until we deal with man's fundamental sinful
It
nature.
doesn't take long to start a religion, like 50 years.
What is Lisa is gonna say something? Let Lisa talk.
Oh, let Lisa talk. Beacon of truth. Beacon.
No.
What up, Russia?
My bad. I thought you were
Wise
gonna talk.
What up, Russia?
Hello.
Oh, it's a girl. Fucking go home, gamer girl. Jesus.
It's the
Christ.
girl of
That's
two
why there's
words.
no girls here, Ninja. Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lisa's always
Say,
got
say
something.
something, Lisa. Say
What
something.
What do
There's
you
no girls
think?
here because they're all busy collecting stamps.
What do you think of men, Lisa?
What kind of men?
Just men.
Gay,
in
gay
general.
men. Gay men. Come on.
I don't know.
What about Australian men?
That's the same thing, isn't it?
Hey.
Oh
Men
my
aren't allowed in
God!
Russia. They get thrown in the.
I see a day with no refraction. Awesome. Wish I had a camera.
Is that me?
Merle.
I ask you because I was at a job, right, and I was in this canteen, and it was just men, and I looked around the room, and it hit me. It was like, fuck. Imagine if it was just men and there were no women. It was awful.
Imagine if you dropped the.
It sucked.
Imagine if someone dropped the sausage on the ground. Oh no! What would happen then?
Well, it was more imagine if there were no women and it was just men, and my heart fucking sank. I tell you.
Again, it's all that
But did they sink due to
kind of
buoyancy?
perception. You know? when you get down to it, like
Was it dead to
sheep
me
like
that
the
caused the
look of
sausage to
sheep,
drop?
and octopuses look like the look of other octopuses. You get used to whatever you have.
We'd
You'd
still
be
have
designed for it.
we'd still have Sean Hufford.
No
Merle.
way. What's
You
that?
fuckers.
We'd
You
still have
fuckers
Sean
keep-
Hufford.
You fuckers keep talking over me. I want to say hi, Merle. How's it going, bro?
Good man.
Didn't you say that earlier?
Monkey.
I did, but nobody heard me because people were talking over me.
If you could
I heard
choose
you.
between man, like being made in the image of God, or man just evolving from a meaningless universe, wouldn't you rather be made in the image of God?
We would
Terrible
have to know
artist.
what God. We would have to know what God looked like beforehand.
I mean, ultimately, you have to put your faith in something. You can like choose your philosophy. I think it's better to choose that philosophy of like man being made in the image of God than this.
He
Like,
made us out of what would God made us out of clay. Like he formed the dirt into us.
He's not a very good artist.
but isn't that a better philosophy than just like there's no meaning to anything and we're just random chance?
Is it?
No.
I don't know. Why is it? Why? Why is it?
Because it's fucking awesome. Like I'm made in the image of God. That's way better than just being some fucking random.
No.
I kind of
wanna
prefer
hear-
randomness.
I want to actually hear. What were you saying?
I mean, I prefer that to the idea of of just like being randomly created in a meaningless universe with no purpose and you know.
We're not.
What
we're
does
not
that
exactly,
change?
You have to change the meaning of creation there, like because we're not. If you believe in evolution, you don't believe that we're created. Right? We're not created. We just happen to be the
Lottery winner.
a very smart animal, right? Amongst all the other animals, we just happen to evolve our brain
The lottery,
to solve problems. Right, we evolved our brains to solve problems, and that's about it. That's all it is, you know. It could be anywhere. It could be any other planet as well,
Don't
where
you think-
life evolves.
Don't you think that's a dangerous ideology if you just see mankind as nothing more than an intelligent animal? Like, then I think we should put man above animal. Because if you just degrade us to the point of an animal, then then that's when concentration.
That's
camps
all
and
we
stuff
are.
happen.
We are just animals.
Well, wait.
We can put a value on it above that. I mean, basically, we look at a dog and we say that's our pet, and the rat in the house we hit with a trap.
Well, if you're watching a movie or a TV show and you see an animal die, don't you feel more depressed or sad than if you see a human die?
Nah, I feel
just
that
me?
Not really.
Is that just me?
I still feel sad. Don't get me wrong. Like, I don't want animals to die.
I feel like
It depends on the movie.
remember the
Usually what they've
movie,
done is they've spent time making you love that animal. The movies that make you love the person who dies, Luke Gehrig's movie, whatever the fuck they call that. That one was tearjerker. Oh, is it?
It's called character recognition. They always do that in movies.
Sure.
I was thinking, like, I don't know, whenever I see an animal die in a movie, I feel way worse than a human, and I was thinking that's kind of fucked up.
With the Benji, they showed Benji to me when I was a kid.
But dude, animals are cute. And humans
You're
are
trying too
disgusting,
hard.
but that's
I was thinking it's because we see humans die way more on TV than animals, so it's like we've been desensitized to that, and then when you see an animal die.
What about when the
when
antagonist...
Mac and me, when that guy went off the hill,
I mean, the thing is, when you see a human die, you're just like, well, that's just part and parcel of living in a human society. But when you see an animal die, you're like, oh my god, like it's just so sad.
What about when the antagonist...
Animals are cute compared to humans. Humans are just...
What about when the antagonist dies, like the wolf that's been chasing the little kid, and somebody comes up and kills the wolf? You're happy as shit.
There is a genetic component to us wanting to keep animals alive more than
character recognition's not just defined for humans. It can be also for objects. Like there's a movie, for example, called Batteries Not Included.
Yeah.
And that's,
Hell yeah.
And that sort
Terry.
of developed a character recognition for just a little machine.
A robot. Yeah. Basically.
Yeah. It was a bunch of robots. It was like 3 robots. Hell yeah.
Yeah, there was a couple of them in that.
Yeah. But I think there's a little bit of a genetic component that we do want to because I think genetically we want to keep like a group of sheep alive, right? Because they're gonna feed us and they're gonna give us some milk, that sort of shit. Or we want to keep a bunch of goats alive, and humans don't really matter to that genetically. Like the humans aren't going to give us meat and milk, but goats will give us some meat and milk. So I think there's a little bit of a genetic thing there. We see when we see an animal die, we feel a little bit more pain and we feel a little bit more about that dying because now that's not something that can give us meat. It's not something that can give us milk.
Yeah, before in the past when it died, food, there's lunch. That's it.
Sure. You could eat it, but it's not going to give you any milk.
No, there was no emotional attachment. Yeah.
Hey, I'm fighting flower.
Well, I think there is there's more emotional attachment to the animals that we harvest.
So I think I'm going to end my stream here. I just wanted to say one more time that this fat, disabled, physically disabled, mentally disabled liar who's balding thinks the earth is a sphere and flat earth is stupid. But this handsome young man thinks the earth is flat. Who are you gonna trust? Who looks more trustworthy to you? Please vote in the comment sections. This guy thinks NASA's telling the truth. And he has a fucking tattoo. And what's up with that? Look at this hairline. Would you trust that hairline or do you trust this hairline? I mean, I think the choice is clear personally, but